Oh, man, the pass rushers that are becoming available for the Philadelphia Eagles. You want an edge rusher? You could do it. You want a DT? You could do it. You could double dip in this draft. Who knows? But we're going to talk about some pass rushers that are available. We're going to be talking about Dallas Goedert as well. Some new news has came about him that I think we need to really look closely at. So let's get straight into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. This video is sponsored by BetUS. Definitely go check them out if you guys have not, okay? Now, we're talking free agency, we're talking trades, we're talking pass rushers, where I think the Eagles are really going to go in that direction. On top of them trying to free up cap, making some signs. You extended Zach Bond, you extended Saquon Barkley, and wonder what the next move is going to be, okay? We all know this pass rush has got to improve. And, you know, you lost Milt, you lost Josh Sweat, you know what I mean? So you're losing a few guys. Brandon Graham coming back on a second torn tricep. I don't even think his tricep could hold up at this point, so they might not even bring him back. But pass rushers, I think the first one we got to talk about is something that we've been talking about for a while, is Myles Garerett. He tried contacting the Browns owner, is not answering his phone calls, and the Browns are still standing still at this point to not trade Myles Garerett. Myles Garerett is considering holding out. At 30 years old, you're going to hold out, okay, in games for the Browns, knowing that the Browns aren't going to turn into anything next year because they're not, and he's probably making the smart decision saying, let me keep myself healthy, sit out, and, you know, kind of hurt them a little bit. I don't care how much money I lose off my contract. And, you know, when a player wants out, you can't force them to stay. At this point, you need to try to trade him, do the right thing by the player. Stop forcing yourselves to keep a player that's not going to be there. And then you have to make the trade somewhat realistic for a team to acquire, whether it's draft capital and what this new contract for Myles Garerett is going to look like. So when it comes to the Eagles having any interest in this, I think they're just fall off. This whole thing is just falling off at this point because the two sides can't even agree to trade the player, you know, and that's where we're at with the Myles Garerett situation. Now, Trey Hendrickson, that was breaking news a couple days ago that he has, you know, asked for a trade. A lot of players are asking for trades. Trey Hendrickson, 30 years old, okay, would probably be a cheaper trade to do. Actually finding out the news about Trey Hendrickson now with 17 and a half sack seasons the last couple years each, which is great, over 30 sacks the last couple years. It might even cost, the news coming out, it might even cost a late second rounder to an early third round pick, which I'd do that. I'm not giving up players and picks, 2 first rounders that even though they're going to be seconds or 32nd picks for the Eagles the next couple seasons, realistically, like, you know, give that up for Myles Garerett is just asinine to me. But Trey Hendrickson, you want to give up an early third or a second round pick this year, next year, whatever it is, I think I'd be open to a trade like this. Get the pass rusher in Philly on the edge, have him start, do his thing. But then, you know, I think you double dip at this position, go into the draft and go get another guy. Or maybe you go get a DT. I don't know. You want Jalen Hunt to get a lot of snaps. You want Nolan Smith to get a lot of snaps. But if that's what it's going to cost for Trey Hendrickson, I mean, I might pull the trigger on, if you're giving up 1 draft pick, even a second at this point, I'd probably give that up, to be honest with you. Especially like if it's a pick for next year as well. I mean, they have 3 third-round picks next year, and they'll have 2 fourth-round picks in the 26th draft. So how much, you know, are they going to want a second round for this year? You know, maybe it'll cost a couple picks. I don't think it's going to cost 1 pick for them realistically, but this is a move I'm definitely thinking about. Another move that I'm kind of thinking about, and it's not going to cost you trading draft capital, because when you're not trading draft capital, you don't have to trade with a team for a Myles Garerett or a Trey Hendrickson. You go down the route and say, hey, Harold Landry would be a really good move. Plays off ball. He's a linebacker, so he could play on the edge. He could play off ball. I think he would fit in Fangio's scheme really well. Okay, the Titans just released Harold Landry, and if you look at some of his numbers, I mean, look, he's only 28 years old. You know what I mean? He's got some injury history. In 21, he had 12 sacks. In 22, he was out the whole season. 23, 10 sacks. And I think last year he only had 9 sacks, but he's been steadily, I think part of this move of them releasing him and not giving him big money is because Abdul Carter is going to be there early in the draft where the Titans are going to be at with that early pick. So I think that's a huge part of maybe getting rid of him that tells them that Abdul Carter might be going there in the top 5 at this point. I guess we'll just see. But this is another move that they can make that, you don't have to trade. You just sign. You just work on a contract and see if he wants to join this football team. So I think this would be another really good signing, for the Eagles. And, pass rushers are available, especially, get a guy that's only 28 years old. That's good. You know what I mean? You're not picking up these 30-year-olds. You're picking up some guys that are a little bit younger. They could be here for 2 to 3 years. And by the time he's 30, 31, he leaves the Eagles and boom. Hopefully you got a couple championships under your belt by that time. So speaking of DTs is another interesting one for the Philadelphia Eagles. And that is JAVON HARGRAVE. 49ers informed JAVON HARGRAVE on his release, and he will be released. Now, we know that JAVON HARGRAVE is 31 years old, but if you're looking for your Milton Williams, you're looking for the replacement for Milton Williams or something like that, then you go for a move like this. I'm not really onto it as much, even at his age. He's coming off a big contract, obviously. They would have to rework the contract. And significantly, he would probably have to take a little bit of a cut, to be honest with you. But, we'll see in the meantime what the Hargrave situation is going to look like down the road. But, this is a guy after 22 left to join the 49ers, got paid a lot of money, which the Eagles were not paying. And the Eagles started to really put a lot of money into the defensive tackle position, or at least draft high at those positions, obviously with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. Adding Hargrave as like the second rotation wouldn't be a bad thing. It's not my favorite move, but I would welcome it if the money is right. So they don't have to go into this draft and get a DT, which they can get an edge rusher and a DT. It should be defense in this draft mostly, but I still think they need to go after tight end. They still got to go after offensive line. So there might be some other, interests in the draft that are going to be a little different from last year. I still think that first pick at 32 will be something on the defense, but you're going to have to, look for some other positions offensively, future, tight ends or whatever the case may be, to find some of your number one guys for the future, which we'll be going into on the next case. Really the last thing is Dallas Goedert. Now, Jeff McClain did say that he's been hearing from NFL agents around the league. An anonymous NFL agent says that Dallas Goedert, won't be on the Philadelphia Eagles much longer. No more guaranteed money on his contract, which means that one of two things. The Eagles are going to try to trade him, or the Eagles are going to try to rework his 1-year deal that's left on his contract since the 26 is avoided year for him. Okay, $11.8 million against the cap is way too much. It is way too much. And I'm not even trying to look for an extension at this point. Kind of what they did with Josh Sweat, they redid his 1-year deal after he became a free agent the first time. They redid his 1-year deal. So there are times where, certain things could happen here. The Eagles have been interested in tight end in the draft. But how far up the draft are they willing to go? You're losing Calcaterra after this year, and you're losing Dallas Goedert after this year. So your tight end spot will be completely empty after the 25 season. So I don't know what direction they're going to go here. If it was me, I would probably redo his 1-year deal. The problem I have right now is just the guy is missing 5 to 8 games a year. Can't stay healthy. And, thank God he was back for the playoffs. We were so happy about that. And he played really well. Okay. Dallas Goedert, unfortunately, could never live up to being a top 5 tight end. We know he is. If he's healthy, his statistics would be much better than what they are now. And his rankings within the tight ends of this league would be a lot better than it is right now. So I think we all know that he is dangerous. But that guy's got to sit on the field. And thank God that we have had a Calcaterra in the room that, we've had a Calcaterra in the room that can, that has taken over that job, even with when Jack Stahl came in the last few years and missing, when Dallas Goedert was missing some of those games. I think you had some good compensation when it came to the substitutions with some of these backups that have took over his role over the last few years. So I don't see them letting this contract go the way it is right now. That 11.8 they got to do something with that. It's too much, way too much for a guy missing too many games. So we'll see what happens with the Dallas Goedert trade, if it happens, or do they rework that 1 year he has left and redo all of that. So let me know what you guys think, obviously, about the Myles, Garerett, Trey, Hendrickson, Harold, Landry. I mean, this is the perfect time for the Eagles because there's so many pass rushers available. They're going to get somebody. I can't see them sitting back and not getting anybody at this point. We'll see. We'll find out. In the meantime, if you guys haven't checked out the Philly Shakedown podcast merch, definitely go check it out. We have the high sprung polyester shirt, Champions Jalen Hurts shirt that looks absolutely phenomenal. Go check it out. And we have the main thing t-shirt, all different colors. Go check it out. Everything comes in t-shirts, hoodies, you name it. Just click on it and, you'll have all your options right there. And check out some of the merch we came out for this entire, for the past 2024 to 25 season. A lot of stuff is out. So definitely, appreciate so much for everybody ordering. We appreciate so much. Can't say it any more than that. So other than that, that's pretty much it. Guys, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up? Follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.